Hey friends, welcome back to Mom Likely. I hope you were just as excited to click on this video as I was to actually get this project done and get it ready for you guys to see. As most of you know, this was my last major home project that needed to be done before summer's end, and even though I didn't get it done before summer's end, I'm still really relieved to actually be able to get it marked off my checklist for this year. This space literally ended up taking me days and days to transform because not only did I want this room to be the home office that I can use for work from home, but also it's our family craft room. So I knew it needed a lot more stuff than to just be aesthetically pleasing because I needed to have a lot of different ways to organize once I decluttered everything. So most of the time was spent decluttering and organizing just through the stuff that I had. There was a lot of sentimental things I had to go through and really decide what we were going to be able to get rid of, and also kind of pre-plan out what I plan to do with what was remaining that I wanted to get out of here, which I'll tell you about later in the video. But everything turned out really good. It was super frustrating. I shared a little bit of that over on social media throughout this process, but as well as a really funny behind the scenes video if you missed it. Aw. But nonetheless, it got done. It was very stressful for me, but I'll tell you what, it's so relieving now that it's done and I can actually get in here freely. So let's get into how it went. So getting straight into this whole project, initially when we first moved into this house, I knew that this was going to be the home office area. But over time, as I went through other projects over the last year and just, finding random things that we had just thrown in here because it was an extra room as well as the closet, I really just got just kind of disorganized on what my plan would be for in here because in the old house, if some of you might remember, at one point the girls shared a room and I did use one of the rooms as an office, and I did have a large desk in there, but it was very, very short-lived because the girls wanted their own room again, which was really reasonable, especially in the older house because there just wasn't as much space. So in this house we have the extra room, so I knew I definitely wanted the office. So yeah, everything has just been thrown in here though. And then after recently decluttering the girls' bedrooms and cleaning, I have recently taken their old desks and put them in here. So my plan originally was to use their old desk plus these cube organizers, whatever I had already from IKEA from previous room transformations. This kind of furniture has held up for us for the last 3, 4, 5 years that we've had these kind of things. So I just kind of wanted to keep utilizing them because I didn't want to just, get rid of them. I think they still work really well even though they don't look great. But the girls' desktops were completely trashed. And as I started to set stuff up and I was like, where am I gonna put this? Where is this gonna go? I really liked how this setup was going until I realized that if I go to set up my next table, it wasn't gonna align with this one. So as I started kind of unpacking what was in here, I quickly realized hey, my original thought process I don't think is gonna work here. So then I kept having to move things around and get resituated. And then I kind of just tried to move everything to one side so I could play Tetris basically with all this furniture and kind of move it around. And then I finally got to a spot where I was just I don't know where to move anything or how this is gonna work. I don't really know. And then I was thinking well, how am I going to do this room? So that led me into what is it that I want out of this space. So I didn't want to just have a desk set up. I knew that I wanted to basically utilize all the wall space in here. I kind of have that wall syndrome. It comes from, I think, when you're used to living in a smaller space where you just shove everything up against the walls so that way you have moving room in the middle of your room. This happens for a lot of us, and even when we got here, I noticed we still kind of suffer from this as well. But I wanted to utilize that concept in here as I was trying to figure out what was going on, because in the future I might want to put a stand-up desk in here to work at for crafts as well. But for now, this was just the initial declutter and organize and just get this room functioning, because it was quickly just becoming a hoard pack in here is what it was feeling like. So I know I've been working really hard to put out videos and create content, and I need this space so that way I can actually, keep track of all my ideas, my paperwork and everything and all the equipment, and just keep all of the really expensive equipment that I have as well. I want it to be kept nice. So I knew I wanted a larger desk, but I knew I didn't want to make this whole entire room just about my office and about me, because I like being able to utilize this space for extra things. And I want the kids to be able to come in here and enjoy this space with me as well. So here in the closet, I have our extra linens hanging in there. I share that I like to hang up blankets and pillowcases and sheets. So I put extra of those in this closet. And then at the top, I have like extra equipment. Basically, all down here on the bottom was just a bunch of random stuff that we've had that I just didn't get to. It's a lot of keepsakes, photographs, just stuff from when we were growing up and things. And I knew that I wanted to get the middle of the room open so that way we can actually walk in here. So I wanted to have an L-shaped desk and then just kind of have everything organized into organizers and the closet. And once I got into the closet and all these bins and boxes of our stuff, I quickly gained, a lot of mental fatigue from decision making, and also just from unpacking lots of stuff that was emotional, and spending time like looking through photos and just kind of going through things. It is very tiring, and I didn't try to place on myself that I wanted to rush this process, because I actually really did want to be able to go through each little bag and bin and box, so that way I wasn't just making it appear clean and then shoving things in the closet again or in the drawers, but I actually really physically wanted to get rid of all the stuff that we needed to get out of here and organize to utilize all the stuff that will be remaining. And through that process, I also decided on my next project, which will be photos and keepsakes at some point coming up here after the holiday. But for now, I did leave those in the closet, because dealing with a big task like this, you need to focus on one thing at a time and the task that's in front of you, which can be difficult when you're managing lots of different things in the space, lots of different little jobs to do in the space. But ultimately, it's just to get it decluttered, organized, and functioning again. And then, of course, I had to sit down to reminisce. I want to show you a couple of pictures. You got to check this out. So this project got to where it felt taxing on my time, and it was like there was a lot going on, but it was actually a really great process to be able to sit down and actually get to feel a little bit of being grateful again, and just kind of looking back on where we've come from and stuff. Like Savannah, it's the girl's birthday month this month in September, so they both just turned a new age. Jordan's double digits, she just turned 10, and these photos are from when I had Savannah. And she just turned 14, and it's just so crazy looking back. Like, I was 19 when I, had her, and we were in the hospital. And if you've seen the behind the scenes, you'll see that James is still always laughing at my pain. And I was looking like, when I was editing, I was like, are you serious? There's no way he's been doing this whole time, just getting under my skin, making it boil. I can't wait to make a photo book that can go on the bookshelf downstairs, so that way in passing or on days where I want to sit down and remember and be grateful, I can open up those photo books, and it's just a different handheld physical experience than looking back at the pictures in your phone, Aw, here's baby me, 2006. Oh my gosh, 2006? Wow. 20 years. So far what I'm finding right now during this declutter is a bunch of stuff that I've been hanging on to, and it's just stuff that I've had for like ever. Personally, I don't often collect a lot of things in time. We're pretty good about getting rid of things, donating, upgrading things. But these are the boxes of stuff for me that I've kept, and there's like a lot of little random stuff in here from when I was a kid. Lots of teenage photos, just back during that time, which I'm sure you can understand, we just didn't have the same storage for our photos and keepsakes and stuff. And a lot of stuff, honestly, I can just have a picture of it and I don't actually need the physical item. And so that's pretty much been like my thing, you know, like, and that's another really good tip. If you're having a hard time decluttering and you just don't want to forget something, like I said, those pictures, holding it is just a different experience when you're looking back, recapping life. But a lot of other, every single physical, sentimental thing we don't have to hold on to. Sometimes it helps just to have photos of those things. Like I think I have somewhere random in Savannah's baby clothes, like that she had from her baby dolls. I gave her a couple of outfits from when the girls were babies and she'd played with them, and I'll keep those items, but I didn't keep their entire wardrobe. I don't have all their baby shoes and bibs and everything that they ever had, because I just have the photos of them using those items, wearing those items. And that can be the same for a lot of other sentimental items that you might have, like keepsakes, a collection of some sort. We don't always necessarily have to have the physical item, even though there are instances where it's really beautiful experience to have that. But otherwise, sometimes it's great to just look back at those memories, and we don't need that extra stuff, you know, in our energy, in our space, taking up mental space seriously, when we can have those moments where all we really need to do is just look back on them and remember, and then that'll be enough. So, okay. One more thing I wanted to mention about photos is I had a really hard time, and I think that's why I'm like so attached to the photos in general, is because a few years ago, like back when I was living with my dad before he passed, like we used to take quite a bit of photos on the disposable cameras as kids. Like we kind of just used to play with them. We never really took a lot of family photos. Like we weren't like taking photos and stuff. It just wasn't something going on. I didn't have family like taking photos of me and things happening. So the point of my story is right before my dad had passed, we finally got to a place in technology where we were able to have decent photos on our phone. Well, I did back up one of my phones, but I backed it up onto a computer, and we had a large storm and it fried my computer. And there was literally no way at the time that I could get those photos back. So all the photos I thought I was going to be having by, you know, taking that extra time, finally, now that I had access to camera and storage, it was all literally for nothing. And so I lost all the photos that I had of my dad, and it was really devastating for a long time for me. So then after that, I was like, you know what, we need to have photos. So even at this point, if I'm paying for storage or whatever, I'm always having backup photos. But nonetheless, I still want to get those pictures printed, because that was kind of the thing. I took too long to kind of print them thinking I had them, and ultimately ended up losing them. So that really sucked. So once I got most of this stuff the way decluttered, I realized that this wasn't going to work anymore, and I wanted to go out and get myself another long desk to go in here to make a very large L-shaped desk. And then I also wanted to get another set of these drawers like you see between these two cube organizers. So what I ended up doing was just emptying that like vintage dresser that was in here, and I moved that to Savannah's room, and we got rid of the little futon that she put in her room. I think I showed it in the last one because she put it in there after I had did the room cleaning. So, but yeah, so I ended up moving the dresser into her room, and then that cleared up space in here so that way I could fit another table. And then it was funny because like over there in that behind the scenes video, we were laughing so hard because at one point I literally had like 5 tabletops in here, and I was just like, what is happening? And it was just so funny because I just had that little tiny desk that I've been using for like the last couple of years, and then like I just went to like, we need all the space, you know? But my main goal in here was just to have a lot of surface space. And then as I got going, I realized I bought the wrong size color of desktop from IKEA. And I was so upset because it was late at night when I had finally opened it. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Well, that's what happened. I was just so frustrated trying to move stuff and figure out what to do. And yeah, it was a whole mess.
What's that? Where's your desk?
I don't think it's funny.
It looks good.
Don't. Don't even.
I don't know what you're doing.
You're standing around laughing at me. You could be in here helping. You think it's so funny. The hilarious part about that is he came home after like a 17-hour shift. So I didn't actually expect his help, but he came to check in on my project and be supportive, if that's what you want to call it. The problem that I'm having are these legs don't measure up with this. They're too tall. I don't know why. All the pictures I'm looking at shows legs with this. I don't know if these are the wrong size or what. I have no idea. I thought that these were the adjustable ones, but maybe the adjustable ones are too large. I don't know. And then it also doesn't measure up with the cube organizer over here. So I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how am I going to set these tables up because everything I have doesn't match up. So it's so frustrating to figure out which way to put things because nothing is kind of going together. I even tried to do it like this, but when people do this, they have a custom top to fit it. So the actual already cut and bought tops don't fit the organizers like this. So I finally worked it out, and this is the layout that I'm going to go with. It looks really janky right now, so you'll see it when it's all done. I'm going to be getting rid of my desk right here and these things. I'm getting rid of this table. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. Maybe sell it, or we might try to put it somewhere. I don't know where it can go though. I'm going to be putting legs in the corner there, legs in the corner there, and one of those is going to go right here. So these two are going to meet up. So that's like all the table. I decided to use all 3 tables just to maximize the surface area to work on. But I'm going to go to IKEA and I'm going to grab 2 new tables, both in black, hopefully. Then I put the 2 cube organizers stacked on top of each other right here. And I'm going to get a couple of inserts to go in here throughout. As you can see though, I just had table down there balancing. I just had the table down there balancing on like a leg. I just did it all jankily, and then I put it on one of these other little stands that I had. I know it was like set up really janky and rankety, but it definitely worked well enough so I could finally get a visual because I was severely mentally struggling, like trying to decide how I was going to piece all these pieces together. And it was just so frustrating because, like I said, nothing was matching up. Nothing was the correct height. Everything was varying heights. So I finally figured it out and just moved all the odd pieces. And I feel relieved now that I got to actually move it around like a Tetris piece and get the visual. And for those that never understand how the house can get messy, especially when I'm working on a project, it's always 9.5 times out of 10. There's stuff in a whole nother space outside of what I'm working on that's getting messy at the time. Okay, like seriously, are you not even the least bit relieved for me to finally be making some headway with these tabletops? Because by the time I got to this point, I was so relieved, and then I ran into another road bump. So the first time, not only did I have all those, height issues, and I was trying to figure out how exactly we were going to lay this room out once I was putting it back together again, but then I ran into the height issues. And then from there, I ran into buying the wrong color on my desktop, and I had to go back to the store to switch out the desktops that I thought I was going to use so that way it could be cohesive. Then on this day, once I got here and I thought I was finally ready to start putting the room back together, I had to go a whole nother day because I had to go back to the store and get extra legs, and then I put the legs on wrong, so then I had to readjust them. So it was a whole mess, and so I just been out here fending for myself because James was just working so much while I was doing this project. So I was putting all this stuff together by myself, and although it was easy, it was just time consuming for me, and it was really irritating. So it set me back a bunch. Like, it literally took me like 5 hours just to put that Alex drawer set together, like these 5 drawers right here. So then, so I was like, you know what? These are going to be having some expensive stuff on them. They need to be like supported. So they needed an extra bar in the middle, and I had to go all the way back to the store for them and then come all the way back home and get started again. So to say that I am so relieved that this is done is actually an understatement at this point. Especially because this isn't my typical type of project where, yes, I'm used to cleaning up large messes, which basically is just a lot of clean the grime and throw stuff out. Or, I'm used to a certain organizing project where it's like I kind of already know the system I want to use, or I'm utilizing something new. But in this space, like, I was trying to utilize what I already had, mixed in with some new stuff. Not only was I throwing things out, I had to really break down and go through the things I wanted to keep. So like every last thing needed attention. So it was very time consuming and mind boggling in some areas, but it's great. This was one of the items that needed to be repurposed, was both of these cubes, and they were pretty beat up, but I knew I just needed to wash them. So what I did was I mixed a pretty hefty amount of water in with a big cap of pine salt and a couple drops of dish soap. So it acted like as a degreaser, and it got a lot of that grime off of here, so that way it looked a little prettier and it smelled a lot better too. So definitely the one thing I didn't get to was really taking a step back and thinking about how are we going to use this space once we're like actually actively in here. Like, we're living in here, we're breathing in here, So I did need to put some double-sided tape down underneath between these two cube organizers. And then I think wanted to place some L brackets onto the desktops so that way they're more stable, because they do kind of slide around on top of the Alex drawers. They're bolted good to the legs, but not on top of the Alex drawers, just because I wasn't exactly sure if this was going to work out. But now that I'm in here, I see that it is. So I'm going to try to find a way to use some double-sided tape and or some L brackets, so that way everything is a little bit more secured as well. But for the most part, like, this is the setup for now until the future. I know I definitely at some point want to add one more machine to the desktop, but until that gets here, this is pretty much all the organization we probably need to utilize until then. And then the other little thing down here was James got, what is this thing called? It's like a power box. So that way, when we have one of those really large storms, and if there is a surge or something, it doesn't fry my computer. So it will save it. It's a huge battery, and it will actually kick in and save all my tech. So this gold light right here, I figured out what it was called finally. It's called a piano light, and so it's typically a light that you'll put over a piano for your sheet music and keys. But this light was left here on an old desk when we first got to the house. This was one of the items left, and I really wanted to keep it because if you notice all throughout our house, a lot of the accents and like knobs and pulls and curtain rods and stuff are gold. So I was like, this fits perfectly. And once I messed up and made that mistake with the black desktop, I thought that it would look really cute and cohesive to do like the black and the white and then have like little gold accents, kind of still keeping the same theme. But, you know, obviously with IKEA furniture, it obviously makes it look a little bit more modern, even though it's not like really fancy. But anyways, it's really functional. But that paired with also the curtain rod, I thought it just looked really cute. As time goes on and the room kind of breathes its own life and we kind of see like what's going to be going on in here, I want to add more wall storage. I know on the back wall there, closest to the hall, I want to put up a big wall calendar. I miss my big whiteboard that I used to have at the old house. So I kind of want to do like a calendar for work and then notes. I really love to like pop post-its up on the wall, so it'd be great for that. And then on this wall here behind the sewing machine, we don't want to put big cube organizers up on the wall just because we don't want to add too much extra weight to the walls. But I was thinking about maybe doing some kind of rolls for maybe like fabric, maybe in the future for like vinyl, wrapping paper, things like that. And then if not, also just maybe put some wall shelves and maybe like some cute little plants and little, you know, quote board and things like that. I found this little 3-drawer set at, I believe, Marshall's, I was at. It might have been Home Goods. It was definitely one of them though. They kind of like the same, so it's just kind of tricky. But anyhow, so it was only $25 and I thought it'd be perfect for the kids to use for extra storage for their side because with utensils and paints and things, I just figured plastic was easy to clean as well. And it was pretty affordable if it broke or needed to be replaced. But I liked that it also fit the theme. I was like, oh, no way, it actually fits. So it was like black with little gold accents. So I had to get that. I also found these old little wall decals that I never put up from Dollar Tree. This was one of my favorites. You know, that's kind of one of the things I do too. Like, I just want to collect everything until I'm ready to like put it all together because I don't want it to like go to waste or anything. And sometimes I just end up not using things because I have that mentality sometimes. In this case, it worked out well because I had a lot of things I could put up in here that were really cute. But I really love words, like a few choice words I really love to have up. Back in the old day, like when I first started my channel, I used to have a word, a wall word on my living room wall going into my hall, and it used to say believe. And like I like having those little like reminders. Like I talked about in my kitchen, I like having my little weekly planner board out, and it just acts as my trigger for staying on task. So that's kind of how I look at my wall word as well. So I was like super excited to just pop some of those up in here, and I thought it'd be different to put them like on the drawers, just as little verbal reminders to read, to, you know, work hard, be kind, and stay humble, obviously, because, you know, what's life if we're going to take it all serious, you know? This is the wall right here where I'm planning to put the wall calendar. I think I'm going to go with like a 24 by 36. I really love how everything turned out. It ended up working out really well, and Jordan was excited to get in here and organize everything. I told her we could restock some stuff because I did like kind of rudely throw some things out during cleaning her room, but did I though? You know, you've seen the video, but I did throw away some paints that were kind of full still. And I was like, we're not using paints anymore. I'm completely done with this. And then, you know, I calmed down and came to my senses and, you know, forgave the situation. And like now we're just going to utilize this little space here. So that's what it's for. This desk is going to get ruined and it's fine. We have this little other cutting thing back here against the wall. She often paints on this too. You'll see that's why it's like that. She puts that down to play with slime and paint. Often it just still gets, you know, outside of that. And then also it was cool because I found my sewing machine, and my sewing machine is literally brand new. I think I've only used it like maybe 5 times, and that's probably pushing it. So I've literally had it for a few years, just been sitting in a box in the basement at the old house. And then it was doing the same thing here until now. So it's great to have a place to put it. And then what's really cool is that there was already a ironing board like screwed up onto the door here. That's why we originally gave Jordan the room that she has, because this one already had a ironing board attached to the door, and I knew that one day I would like to make this a craft and office. So that's going to work out really well because we'll have access to everything for sewing and all that jazz. And we're just organizing up the colored pencils and stuff into this organizer. We're really like, I don't know, I really prefer just like macro organizing, to where like we're not going to sit here and place each different kind of utensil in its own thing. It's kind of just like what's going to work for like a quick grab, which also I think is pretty practical for most kids as well, because then it's not as complicated for them to organize. And she also likes to sort and organize and display as well, even though you wouldn't think that from her room. But when she does do her thing, she does do that herself as well. So I think she'll like this system having it here. And then you can also kind of see inside of there as well, which works also great for that trigger. Because if she's in here talking to me and she sees some pencils through the drawer or paints up there, she might be like, well, let's sit down and do something, you know? So all in all, I really think that the transformation turned out amazing, especially for the function that it's going to have for our family here in the house. Not only for me to finally, you know, get my space and head together for my work, but also a place where they can, you know, explore their creativity and have some fun. So hopefully we'll get into laminating and sewing and crocheting and painting, and hopefully soon one day next year I will get a Cricut maker, which I'm really excited about. But that's for like next year's goals, you know what I'm saying? But there's still so much space in here that we can utilize. And then I know there's still so much we can do in here and take it even further, but I think this is a really amazing start. So you'll have to chime in down below and let me know, do you have an office or a craft room? What exactly do you like to keep in yours that I'm missing from here? If you have any suggestions or ideas, I'd love to hear them, because you see there's still a lot we can fill in here. But overall, I think it turned out freaking great. So don't forget to give this video a like as well. And I will put a playlist right here for you if you want to catch up on all the projects that I just recently completed. This is the very last one. Now we're going to be moving on to food and, you know, back to, you know, cleaning. So, all right, I'll see you guys in a future video next Saturday. Bye.